And welcome back to ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Kay Jewelers. Senior Day, always emotional, and it's a big senior class for Iowa. 26 seniors playing their final home game. You saw Adrian Claiborne, the great defensive end, Terrelle Johnson-Koulianos, the all-time leading receiver in Iowa history, and Ricky Stanzi, the 3-year starter at quarterback. Only Chuck Long has won more games at Iowa as the starting quarterback than Ricky Stanzi. From Mentor, Ohio, the hometown of Ohio State coach Jim Tressel. The Buckeyes, the Hawkeyes, the kickoff after this. Very impressive military flyover here at Kinnick Stadium on a beautiful day. Partly cloudy skies. Temperature around 40 degrees, what you'd expect in mid-November as Ohio State and Iowa meet for the 63rd time. Ohio State has dominated the rivalry. They've won 3 in a row and 11 of the last 12. The only Iowa win in the last 12 was in 2004. Last year, the Classic, Ohio State won it on the Devin Barclay field goal in overtime to win the Big Ten and head to the Rose Bowl. Iowa won the toss and elected to receive. So Drew Basil will kick off to Keenan Davis and Terrelle Johnson-Koulianos, who brought a kickoff back 99 yards for a touchdown last year in Columbus against the Buckeyes. And Ohio State's given up 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns against them this year. Keenan Davis. Good coverage by the Buckeyes. And Davis is down at the 19-yard line. Tackled by Grant Schwartz. Here's Quint Kessenich.
In his place, you'll see a true freshman, Marcus Coker out of Washington, D.C., slowed by a shoulder injury in camp. He did run for a $122 against Indiana earlier this year.
That was a game Robinson missed because of a concussion. So Coker gets the start and has a big hole and a first down out to the 30-yard line. Orion Johnson made the tackle, but it's an 11-yard gain for the true freshman, as Quint said, from the Baltimore, Washington area, from Beltsville, Maryland. Brett Morse, another senior in his final home game, an excellent blocker. Johnson, Koulianos, and McNutt, the wide receivers. Reisner, one of the best tight ends in the country. Riley Reif is the star of the offensive line, the left tackle. On 1st and 10, a short drop by Stanzi and a connection to Marvin McNutt, who's pulled down at the 35 by Devon Torrance. 5 yards on the gain for the Hawkeyes. The Ohio State defense, one of the best in the country, 2nd in total defense behind only TCU, a front of Williams, Larimore, Simon, and Hayward. Ross Holman, Brian Roll, and Andrew Sweat, the linebackers. Roll is their leading tackler. Chimdi Chekwa, one of the best corners in the country, with Gant, Johnson, and Torrance. Torrance returned an interception for a score against Penn State last week. Stanzi had nowhere to throw it, now takes off running and did not get back to the line of scrimmage. He got belted out of bounds by Devon Torrance. Ross Holman also chased him to the boundary.
You know, Sean, we talked about Ricky Stanzi having to play probably his best game for them to be able to win this game today. But if he's going to do that, this offensive line is going to have to do their job. And that's going to be twofold. One is going to have to be in the running game. They're going to have to get that part done, and they've got to be able to protect him. The advantage that Ohio State's defense has is they have better team speed defensively than does Iowa offensively.
Remember that chain gang was injured as Stanzi went out of bounds across the far sideline. Ooh, boy, his leg bent very awkwardly. We hope he's all right. It's very tough here along the sidelines because there's very little room. The stands are as close as any stadium you'll find in major college football. Very little room along the bench areas. 3rd down and 5 for Iowa. Stanzi, given time again, has his man. First down to Alan Reisner, the tight end. He's become a favorite target of Stanzi in recent weeks. He had 6 catches last week at Northwestern. His first catch today is good for 11 yards and a first down.
Well, it's a nice job by the offensive line of protection. Both tackles inside hold up very well. And because they do this, Reisner is able to just simple nod, look out, and ball's right there.
Reisner, one of the 8 semifinalists for the John Mackey Award as the best tight end of the country. Continuing a long line of outstanding tight ends here at Iowa. Play action pass for Stanzi. Has to step up twice. Now has running room. Across midfield and down at the Ohio State 48. Upended by Ross Holman. 6-yard run for Stanzi.
Part of what Ricky Stanzi has done this year fairly well is manage the pocket. And that's what this turns into. He gets pressure off the top by Simon, steps up, and then is able to take a potential sack and turn it into a 6-yard gain.
Stanzi, an Ohio native, was not recruited by Ohio State. Had a couple of offers from Mid-American Conference schools. Up the middle, Coker, a yard, and that's it. Ross Holman in there again. And Stanzi's never played against the Buckeyes. He was injured last year, suffered an ankle injury prior to the game against Ohio State. So James Vandenberg stepped in as a freshman in Columbus last year. What a memorable performance he put on in that great game against the Buckeyes.
Sean, you and I both thought that was going to be the end of what Ricky Stanzi would do, because Vandenberg was a stud in that game. And then Stanzi came back with his leadership skills and reclaimed the position.
And these two teams did not meet the 2 seasons prior to last year. 3rd and 2, and Coker has a first down. Andrew Sweat pulled him down, but it's a first down at the 42-yard line. A 3-yard gain for Coker, who does give them a bigger body in short yardage situations. He's 230. Adam Robinson weighs about 200.
And they're running behind Riley Reef and Reisner right there. That is just a really well-blocked play. Riley Reef, the left tackle, he's a state champion wrestler, and he plays that way. He's got a nice mean streak from head to toe. I love him.
Buckeyes bring pressure off the corner. It was picked up. Stanzi throwing a deep ball. McNutt was open, but it's over his head.
Had him wide open, Sean. That's one of those ones that the coaching staff's going to go back and they're going to scratch their head. The middle of the field is open. The safety bites up, and Chimdi Chekwa is holding the outside because he's expecting help on the inside from Orion Johnson. Doesn't happen. McNutt's open, and they miss a great opportunity.
Chekwa, one of 10 semifinalists for the Jim Thorpe Award, is the best defensive back in the country. Kirk Ferentz has a player on that list. Tyler Sash, the Iowa safety, is also one of the 10 Jim Thorpe semifinalists. Blitz again, and it works as Brian Roll came up the middle and tripped up Coker for a loss of 2.
It's one of the things you'll see with this Ohio State defense. They'll bring the blitz. They're not afraid to do it because they have great confidence in their corners outside. Devin Torrance on one side. You mentioned Chimdi Chekwa, and he's a good one. They put a lot of pressure on their corners, and they take chances in their front 7. It's one of the advantages they have because they have a speed advantage on the edges.
Marked the ball on the 46-yard line, so a loss of 3. 3rd down and 13 for Iowa. 46% for the year on 3rd down, but a dreadful 2 out of 14 last week at Northwestern. They blitz again. Stanzi under duress. Got it off for a short gain to Alan Reisner, and he's pulled across the boundary by Orion Johnson. Well, it'll be 4th and long, and the punting team comes on for Iowa.
That's good Ohio State defense, Sean. Really, really well done. And you like the thought process behind it, what the coaches are doing. They're going to give you pressure, and that forces, they're going man coverage. They want the ball to come out quick, make the tackle, and get off the field, and they execute it perfectly.
Ryan Donahue, 19th in the country, averaging 44.7 per punt. Jordan Hall back at his own 10-yard line. Donahue, a 4-year starter at punter in his final home game at Kinnick Stadium. Very high, and a fair catch made by Hall at the 16-yard line. 10 plays on offense for Iowa. before they had to punt. The Buckeyes on offense for the first time after this. Ohio State on offense, battling that student section at that end of the field. 1st and 10 for the Bucks on their own 16. Terrelle Pryor out throwing and on target to Dane Sanzenbacher out to the 26 and very close to a first down. Tyler Sash had the coverage. Terrelle Pryor Jr. from Jeanette, Pennsylvania, 22 touchdown passes, is tied with Ricky Stanzi for the Big Ten lead. 67% passing.
And Sean, he's gotten better from the pocket, and you can see that he's grown from the first time he stepped on campus to now, but he also needs to continue that growth.
Big guy at 6'6", 233. The pass to Sanzenbacher, good for 10 yards and a first down. There's Dan Boom Herron trying to run away from Christian Ballard, who tracked him down from behind at the 29-yard line. Here's the rest of the Ohio State offense. They're 6th in the country at 42 points per game. Herron's been emerging in recent weeks. Boren, a great blocking fullback. Sanzenbacher and Posey, outstanding receivers, and Stoneburner, the tight end. Up front, Kirk Ferentz said he thinks Mike Adams might be an all-conference tackle this year. Boren, Brewster, Browning, and Shugarts, a veteran group. That same 5 has started every game this season along the offensive line for the Buckeyes, and they have a combined 132 career starts. Movement and a flag. J.B. Shugarts, the right tackle, making his 21st career start. Guilty of the movement.
That interior 3 of that offensive line sounds like a law firm. Browning, Bourne, and Brewster. But they play really well. They pass things off well inside together. And then just when you think it's not safe, here comes Bourne's brother for another hammer inside.
Well, last year the offensive line considered perhaps a shaky part of the Ohio State team. This year it's a strength. Pryor hit as he delivered, and through the hands of Corey Brown, a true freshman. Let's check in with Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Interesting development there yesterday when they decided that the offenses would all go in the same direction throughout the game. 3rd and 12, movement again. Might have been Shugarts again.
5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And that's the crowd noise right now. They turned it up a notch. Shugarts felt a little bit of Christian Ballard outside to the right. Here's Shugarts right here. And Ballard has started off like a house on fire here.
Third down and 17. And Pryor steps up into the pocket. Throws, caught. First down to the 40-yard line. Dane Sanzenbacher. The freshman middle linebacker James Morris made the tackle, but they get 21 yards on 3rd and long to move the chains.
Remember, we talked about Stanzi and how he managed the pocket by stepping up. Same thing right here. Well done by Pryor. He steps up, eyes down the field. This is where he's improved. And the ball right where it has to be for a big first down.
Pryor 2nd in the Big Ten and 5th in the nation in pass efficiency. Only Stanzi's ahead of him in that category in the Big Ten. For the ground game, Boom Herron for the 46 for a gain of 6. Adrian Claiborne and Jeremiah Hunter made the tackle for the Hawkeyes.
We talked about Terrelle Pryor. Just take a good look at the improvement he's made in his passing efficiency inside the pocket. He's done a better job of staying there. Now, he dumps things off, but his eyes are down the field, and that's where you see the biggest improvement.
He's already thrown for more yards than he did last year. There's nearly 3 full games left to play this year. Good tackle by Carl Klug behind the line of scrimmage as he came in on Dan Herron and dropped him for loss back at the 44.
There's a reason why the Iowa Hawkeye defense is ranked 4th in college football. They play good, disciplined defense, and this is a tough defensive line. That Carl Klug, that's a tough sucker. Not a lot of them. He's only 270 pounds, but every ounce he has, he brings.
He was 207 pounds when he arrived here as a freshman from Caledonia, Minnesota, just across the Iowa-Minnesota border. He's now a senior. Another third down for Pryor. 3rd and 6. Throw short and complete through the hands of DeVere Posey. So Ohio State will punt with just under 6 minutes left in a scoreless first quarter.
Boy, a little departure there on Iowa defensively. Ohio State came out with 5 wides. They went man across the board. That is rare for them. They do not like to do that. They don't believe they have a great speed on that side of the ball to match up.
Ohio State has not been a good punting team this year. Ben Buchanan is the punter. But Ohio State is 106th in the country out of 120 in net punting. And this is not a good kick. But it takes a great bounce, landed near the 25 and bounds out of bounds at the 13-yard line. 43-yard punt in the final analysis. Iowa back on the attack after this. As usual, Ohio State has traveled well. Lots of Buckeye fans here in Iowa City. No score. 5:40 to go in the first quarter.
What do you think their coworkers say on Monday morning when they walk in? Hey, you big nut, I saw you.
Or their family members who just saw them on TV. From the 13-yard line, Ricky Stanzi throws short, caught by the backup tight end Brad Herron. Out to the 16 for a pickup of 3. Nathan Williams made the play for Ohio State defensively. Even though he grew up in Northeast Ohio, Ricky Stanzi told us yesterday, really wasn't an Ohio State football fan growing up, wasn't particularly a fan of any team, was a Cleveland pro sports fan, but spent more time following high school football as a young boy. Second and 7. They hand it off to Terrelle Johnson-Koulianos, and he's dropped for a loss. Brian Roll read it beautifully and got DJK down back at the 11-yard line.
Well, he does do a great job. Roll reads it, diagnoses it really well. You can see him right inside here. First, Simon, he takes the bite, and then Roll reads off of him and dumps Johnson-Koulianos for a loss
of 6. Roll has been here before. Most of his teammates have not, because Ohio State hasn't played here since 2006. But Roll was recruited by Iowa, took one of his official visits here, said he liked it very much, but in the end chose Ohio State. Open Johnson-Koulianos, and he has a first down with a run after the catch. And again, the tight quarters on that far sideline. Brian Roll ran him out. 15 yards and a first down for the senior from the Youngstown, Ohio area, Johnson-Koulianos.
Well, you see his split is tight, and that's for a reason. And that's a clue to the defense. He's either going to use the outside with some kind of short route, or you're going to run across the field.
Johnson-Koulianos was recruited by Ohio State. As a matter of fact, he told me last night he thought he was on his way to Ohio State. He said they chose Ray Small over him, and then he was disappointed. Wound up here at Iowa. He said it all worked out for the best in the end. As you saw with the numbers, he's become their all-time leading receiver here. Stanzi throws to Marcus Coker, and the freshman has an 11-yard gain. First down. Here's Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. All right, Robert, thank you. Ohio State, another one of those one-loss teams. Trying to head to a BCS bowl game for the 6th year in a row. 5 straight BCS bowls, the longest active streak in the country. Stanzi 6 out of 7 passing. He gives it off to Coker. First down, and he almost broke free. Got to Ohio State territory and was tripped up at the 46 by Ross Holman. 18 yards for the freshman, who stepped in beautifully today for their leading rusher, Adam Robinson.
Well, Ken O'Keefe likes what his offensive line is doing. Vandervelde 63, Riley Reef 77. The whole left side just does a nice job. Herron 39. They're getting bodies on bodies, and they're moving the line of scrimmage, Sean, to the Ohio State side, and Coker takes advantage of it.
Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, had a nice mix of the run and pass. Just joined us, Adam Robinson, their leading rusher, did not start for academic reasons. He will see action today. Deep ball. Johnson Koulianos came back in bounds and caught it. There was a flag down as he was shoved out of bounds. Now another official comes running in and rules it incomplete after the official nearest ruled it a catch. But there is a flag now, as there was contact along the near sideline, and the defender, Chimdi Chekwa, rode him out of bounds.
During a play, pass interference. Defense, number 15. 15 yards from the previous line. Automatic first down.
Now, when you watch this, I want you to watch two things. I want you to watch the Ohio State defender, Chekwa. He's trying to use the sideline as his friend. Johnson Koulianos is trying to push back in to give his quarterback some room to make the throw. Chekwa wins the battle, a la flag, and it's the right call.
And a good call on the no catch. The official nearest threw the flag. Could not see that ball hit the ground because the body of Johnson Koulianos obscured his view, but the official up the field saw it. So it's a 15-yard walk-off from the line of scrimmage. The ball at the 31-yard line of Ohio State. 1st and 10. Coker. To the 24-yard line. Kirk Ferentz has to be thrilled with what he's getting from Coker. Ohio State's been a tough one for Kirk. 1-6 against the Buckeyes. One of the few negative marks on a stellar record for Kirk Ferentz in his 12th year here at Iowa.
And Coker has to be thrilled with his offensive line, because they are really getting after a good defensive front of Ohio State. This is a pretty physical defensive line that Ohio State has. In Iowa, and they're getting after him.
Here comes Coker again for the first down to the 19-yard line. Andrew Sweat made the tackle. When we spoke with Julian Vandervelde, the starting left guard, yesterday, he said the offensive line was happy with their play because, like Ohio State last year, this year the offensive line for Iowa was considered the possible weak spot on a Hawkeye team that was ranked in the top 10 in the country in the preseason.
Well, Vandervelde has played very well, and James Ferentz, I'll tell you, it's the coach's son. That is a tough sucker. He is hardly practicing during the week. He's got a high ankle sprain, and anybody who's ever had that knows how painful it is. But he's playing well.
He's the center. Blitz off the corner. Stanzi got hit. Throws. Caught. Touchdown, Marvin McNutt.
John, we said at the start of the game that for Iowa to have a chance, Stanzi's going to have to play his best game. With a minute left in the first quarter, he's off to a fantastic start.
Iowa knew they'd get a lot of those blitzes off the corner from the blind side of Stanzi. He survived that blitz. Hit McNutt, who caught 2 touchdown passes last year against Ohio State in Columbus. Mike Meyer adds the extra point, and Iowa leads 7-0. Ricky Stanzi, his league-leading 23rd touchdown pass of the season. Marvin McNutt, the junior from St. Louis, Missouri, the touchdown reception is 15th of his career. One of 21 Hawkeyes who came as a quarterback and then changed positions. The Hawkeyes have been excellent in the first half. It's been the fourth quarter where they've had their problems. In all 3 of their losses, The defense has given up long touchdown drives in the fourth quarter in tight games. They have 2 long touchdown drives in the fourth quarter in their loss at Northwestern last week. Mike Meyer, the walk-on, kicks off short and taken on the run by Jordan Hall at the 18. And he's out across the 40-yard line. Excellent return by Jordan Hall, former high school teammate of Terrelle Pryor in Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Here's today's Good Hands play brought to you by Allstate.
I want you to watch 2 elements. One is the corner blitzing, and Stanzi has to feel it and still stay inside. And then watch the safety, how shallow he is. McNutt gets on top of him. They can't stay with him. Stanzi takes the hit, delivers it on time, and it's 6 quick. He's going to walk to the sideline and go over and talk to Marcus Cocker and say, listen, you're not over there to watch the play. Protect me.
That capped an 87-yard drive in 8 plays. Option look. Pryor keeps it. Puts his head down and goes to the 48-yard line. He ran into Troy Johnson, senior outside linebacker. It's a 7-yard gain for Pryor.
I want you to see what Iowa, how they're going to defend the option part of it. You're going to see right here, see Sash coming down. He is assigned right here to Boom Herron. And they're going to give the quarterback and turn it over inside. Now, Johnson isn't able to get over there, but they're taking the pitch away, and they're going to force the quarterback to run.
2nd and 3. Boom Herron. Flag thrown. Herron used the stiff arm to get the first down as he drove Tyler Sash back, but there was a flag thrown. A holding call against Ohio State.
And you see Tyler Sash on the outside.
Holding. Number 75 offense. 10 yards to the previous spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
And Mike Adams, the left tackle out of Dublin, Ohio, in the Columbus area, called for the hold.
Yeah, you're going to see all the people on the outside, but the whole key is right there. Adrian Claiborne and Hunter 42, because they made him run sideways. And Adams, of course, had to get the hold inside, but Claiborne held the point, and he was the key to the play.
As you saw, the Buckeyes, one of the least penalized teams in the country, already 35 yards in penalties. The O-line struggling. And the first quarter has ended. Iowa had 2 possessions. They had 9 first downs against Jim Tressel's defense in that first quarter, and 111 yards of offense. After 1 in Iowa City on Senior Day, 7-0 Hawkeyes. Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick back in Iowa City, Iowa. At the end of 1 quarter, the Hawkeyes lead 7-0. They had the ball for more than 10 minutes in that first quarter. First play of the second quarter, 2nd and 13 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. From their own 38-yard line. 5 receivers for Terrelle Pryor. Throws over the middle, caught, first down. Dane Sanzenbacher again, a 16-yard gain. And here's a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Mentioned the time of possession, 10:07 for Iowa, and 111 yards. They had a 10-play possession and an 8-play possession that resulted in an 87-yard touchdown drive.
Well, we talked on this at the top of the game about when Ohio State's really their offense is humming, the recipe doesn't really change. It's the running game, and only 14 yards in the first quarter. Iowa took that part away.
Play action pass out of the eye. Pryor down the sideline, caught by Sanzenbacher again. He's to the 21-yard line. Micah Hyde tripped him up. They'll mark it at the 20.
Good concept by Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State. And so you're staying in the pocket, Now you're going to roll it out. And once you roll it, it changes everything. Sanzenbacher is able to get in front of the corner, but on top of the safety, and get a big first down.
26-yard gain. And Bowman is the offensive coordinator, provides input for Jim Tressel, calls the plays. The balanced Ohio State team, run and pass, and it's back to the run for Herron. And a first down inside the 10. They love the balance. They rush for 222 per game as a team, and they throw for 233 per game.
And when they're running, no, it's Boom Herron. And Boom Herron, as of late, has gotten better. He's a kid who really runs well with his eyes, Sean. And he sees things as well as anybody. So a lot of times you'll see it designed to the one side. His eyes will take him backside. Which is what he did in this last play. And he's been successful.
First and goal for Ohio State from just inside the 10. Pryor pulls it down inside the 5 and stood up inside the 3. Adrian Claiborne, a part of that group of Hawkeyes, trying to take down the powerful Pryor at 6'6". Terrell's 233 pounds.
And you know he's the cog of this offense. And so if you have an opportunity to get a hit on Terrelle Pryor, you got to drill him. And you got to hold him up and let the rest of your teammates come and pepper him. You got to wear this guy down.
Pryor seems to be running better the last couple of weeks. Suffered a thigh injury against Illinois. Timeout called by Iowa. Second and goal, Buckeyes from just inside the 3, looking for a tying touchdown when we come back. Ohio State trails 7-0. Another slow start for Jim Tressel's team. That's been a recurring theme throughout the season, including last week when they rallied from 14-3 down to beat Penn State. He gave his team a very emotional pep talk at the half last week. The players said they had never seen him like that before. Tressel said it must have been an imposter in the locker room. Looking for the tying score here. Herron hit at the line, managed to slide forward down to the 1. Adrian Claiborne hit him. It'll be third down and goal from the 1.
And I'll tell you, there's a nice battle shaping up on the left side of the Ohio State offensive line. Mike Adams, the talented junior offensive tackle, number 75, and Adrian Claiborne. That time Claiborne on the tight end. But both are physical, and they're getting after him pretty good in there.
On third and goal, Pryor keeps. Flips it. Caught, but short of the goal line by Zach Bourne, the fullback. Great effort by Pryor to get rid of the ball. Former basketball standout. Flipped it as you might on a basketball court.
Heck, this is his Brett Favre imitation. To Zach Bourne inside, who's able to hold on to it and sets up this fourth down, and they're going to go for it.
Well, no gain on the play. The catch by Bourne just got them back to the 1. Fourth and goal. Ohio State is 6 out of 7 on fourth down. Play clock is running out. They still don't have a play. They're going to have to use a timeout.
And they do. And Sean, Terrelle Pryor has one quality that sets him above everybody else. He has phenomenal balance. It's really hard to knock him off his feet.
Played on a state championship basketball team at Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Matter of fact, played the championship game at the Bryce Jordan Center on the Penn State campus, and the folks in Happy Valley thought for a long time that Pryor was heading their way. He elected to go out of state to Ohio State. And it's interesting. You look at the numbers. He's going to stay next year, come back as a senior. That's good news for the folks in Columbus. He'll set a lot of records, but you get the sense, based on the hype coming out of high school, I think people expected him to do every year what Cam Newton is doing this year, and he hasn't quite been that kind of productive player.
No, but he has gotten steadily better, Sean. And in some ways, this guy is going to be more ready than, well, obviously more ready than what you're going to see in terms of what Cam Newton was able to do just in 1 year. He has gotten steadily better from the pocket, eyes down the field, better player now than he was a year ago, and he'll be a better player next year than he is now.
After the timeout, Jim Tressel sends the field goal team on. Devin Barclay will try an 18-yard field goal. Flag down.
Delayed game, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
Well, they're going to turn that down.
Still fourth down.
There might have been an intentional penalty there to get a better angle for the kicker.
He's not pleased with it. But if I were Iowa, I would decline that penalty.
They did.
Which is smart because it's a tougher angle here for the kicker to make this kick.
Barclay was one of the heroes of their win against Iowa last year. He kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime. And this 18-yard kick is good from the 27-year-old former professional soccer player. Pryor still not real happy despite the points. A member of the defending NCAA Iowa wrestling team, the defending national champs. They opened their season yesterday. Coached by Tom Brands. They've won the last 3 national championships and 23 overall.
They are a great wrestling team and program.
Drew Basil kicks off. Short kickoff taken by Keenan Davis. Back to the 32-yard line. Tackled by Aaron Gant. On the field before the game, today's honorary captain for Iowa, Dan Gable, 1972 gold medalist in Olympic wrestling, longtime head coach here.
He had a chance to talk to the team yesterday, and he was fiery as usual and intense as usual. Came out to talk to him, taped up, ready to go.
Adam Robinson makes his first appearance of the game at running back, their leading rusher. Didn't play in the first quarter. Stanzi throws to McNutt. And that's a gain to the 37-yard line. A pickup of 5. Andrew Sweat made the tackle for Ohio State. So there's Robinson. Kirk Ferentz said it wasn't anything major, just a minor academic issue, but it was enough that they wanted to hold Adam Robinson out in the first quarter today.
Well, you take care of the little things and the big things take care of themselves. And Kirk Ferentz believes he wasn't taking care of the little things. And he's going to make sure that he came here to fulfill the promises that they make to themselves. Get your degree.
Toker had 43 yards rushing as the starter today on 7 carries. Movement along the line and flags again.
That's going to be on Ferentz.
Ball start. 53 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
First penalty against Iowa on the coach's son, James Ferentz. One of 5 children of Kirk and Mary Ferentz. And we talked with Kirk about how long he's been here. 9 years as an assistant and now back for 12 as a head coach. Said one of the great blessings in his life, all 5 of their kids will graduate from the same high school here in Iowa City. Very few coaches can make that claim. Dump pass over the middle, a floater, and Stanzi got Robinson walloped by Brian Roll with that soft toss over the middle.
Could have got a little more juice in this thing, but perhaps he just wanted to say, hey, Adam, wake up. And, oh, welcome to the game. I don't think Robinson's going to be too thrilled with that welcome.
No. He might skip a class next week, too, if he's going to continue to get hit like that. We don't know that that was the academic indigestion, as Kirk Ferentz said. 3 receivers on 3rd and 5. Stanzi well protected and throws incomplete for Reisner with Roll running in coverage. So with 9.5 minutes left in the half, Iowa will punt.
Well, and so Ohio State goes to their trademark man-to-man coverage. And when that happens, Sean, it shrinks the window for the quarterback to throw it in. Good tight coverage. You got to be pinpoint. He wasn't, and it forces his 4th down.
First 3 and out today for the Ohio State defense. They average 6 of those per game. Only TCU has a higher average of 3 and outs defensively. Donahue's punt. Rolled dead at the 21. Jordan Hall backed away. 42-yard punt. 7-3 Iowa leading Ohio State. The second quarter here in Iowa City. Maps, MAPS, to find the game in your area. Nebraska would clinch the Big 12 North with a win tonight. Terrelle Pryor on 1st and 10. Shovels it forward, and Reed Fragel, the tight end, couldn't handle it. Here's Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Oh, that's unbelievable. You figured they'd get that one, but nothing is a gimme this year for Mac Brown's team. Of course, they'll need to win that one and win their annual regular season ender with Texas A&M to make it to a bowl game. And Herron to the 25-yard line. 4-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for Ohio State.
Sean, I want to show you one of the differences in this Iowa defense. He's just a freshman. James Morris, 44. So what did he bring? Ooh, look at that. He brings physical toughness and intensity to this defense. Just a freshman, only 225 pounds. That kid will be an All-American before he matriculates.
Dad Greg, the longtime equipment manager here at Iowa. James is from Solon, Iowa, just about 10 minutes away. 3rd and 6. Pryor has Claiborne around his legs, lofts it up for grabs over the head of Posey and incomplete. Micah Hyde had the coverage, where the big problem for Ohio State was the man draped around the legs of Pryor, Adrian Claiborne.
You see him right on the top, number 94. Again, working on Mike Adams, and just to change the direction. And remember, I told you how hard he is to knock off his feet. He's a big, strong man, has great balance. A potential sack turns into an incompletion.
Those numbers way down from last year. Only 3.5 sacks this season. He had 11.5 last year. Good punt by Ben Buchanan, and a fair catch made by Paul Cheney. The talk during the week. I mean, they said it's the last race. They're going to do whatever it takes. You wonder.
Little rock'em sock'em robots
see
in there.
A little more bumping than usual. In the flat, Adam Robinson. Good tackle in space by Devon Torrance, the senior corner from Canton, Ohio.
One thing with this Ohio State defense, they're a good tackling team, and their corners are good tacklers. This interior, though, good physical group. And when you put the tape on, the one guy who jumps off for me right away is number 54. That's John Simon. That guy has a heck of a motor. He goes 100 miles an hour all the time.
Out of Cardinal Mooney, great football power in Youngstown, Ohio. 3rd and 4 for Iowa. Stanzi has a receiver open. It is bobbled and caught for a 1st down by Paul Cheney at the Ohio State 46. 15 yards. Jamel Hines had the coverage.
This might count for 2 completions. There's the first one, and there's the second. This is the one guy. It looks like he did secure the ball before he went out of bounds, so it should be a catch. There's the security. There's the foot in bounds.
Yep.
There's the one guy, Sean, on that Iowa roster who can really run. Cheney has legit speed.
He's been a track athlete at Iowa. Adam Robinson. Ball came out. Jim DeChequa made the tackle. The play had been blown dead after about a 1-yard gain.
You can see there that first he stopped, number 1, then elbows down. And the linesman came up, put his hand up right away to stop and mark the ball.
There are 2 very good teams when it comes to turnovers. Stanzi's pass wound up back in his hands. Cameron Hayward made the tackle. I don't know if it ever came out of his hand or if he just pulled it down. It was hard to tell from our vantage point. I wonder if it came out of his hand and got batted right back to him.
And that's what it looked like. And it was Hayward who knocked it up.
Got deflected by Hayward. Stanzi with his touchdown pass to McNutt has now thrown at least 1 touchdown pass in 20 straight games. On 3rd and 9. Another deep throw, and it's incomplete. Crowd wants a flag. Cheney, the intended receiver. Now there is a flag thrown very late. Chimney Chekwa had the coverage. Boy, and the Ohio State coaches are out on the field. Jim Tressel's about 10 yards onto the field. He was out by the numbers for a moment. Now he's being chased back. I think their argument is going to be that wasn't catchable.
Pass interference. Number 5 offense. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, we told you Paul Cheney is the guy who has the speed on this Iowa roster outside. And so what they're doing is you see they take him in not inside and they're trying to clear the whole side there. And they're giving him one-on-one on a good defender. Now he's trying to make the adjustment. I think what he saw was Chekwa's hand on his back, but I don't like the call.
Spun him around a little bit.
Cheney was trying to adjust.
6th in the Big Ten track championships in the 60 meters. Last year, Stanzi got it off, and then it was dropped by Reisner, the normally sure-handed tight end, with Brian Roll in coverage for Ohio State.
The Ohio State linebackers are an active group. Holman, you see there, 51, Roll 36, Sweat 43. The other, all of those guys, or 42 rather, are guys who are very active at the line of scrimmage. And when you watch them, Sean, they crowd the line of scrimmage. They dare you to throw or play action on them.
Second and 10. A screen against the 5-man rush. Adam Robinson tripped up at the 22, 2 yards short of a first down. Jamel Hines made a nice play. That was a good call against that defense, but the speed of Ohio State defensively recovers.
Yeah, it's a good job by Ken O'Keefe of knowing that you saw that Roll walked up outside and was going to be a blitz, which is perfect. Now that means coverage has to come from the inside out, and that's generally where your offensive lineman can get a block to be able to set up a good game.
O'Keefe been on the staff the entire time that Kirk Ferentz has been the head coach. On 3rd and 2, Stanzi faked it to Robinson, who stayed in the block and now slips out. And the pass is behind Adam Robinson. Pressure put on Stanzi by Jonathan Hankins, a true freshman backup defensive tackle. So the field goal team will come on 3rd down and 2. And Mike Myers, their field goal kicker, true freshman walk-on from Dubuque, Iowa. He's had a good year. Schultz, the longtime snapper, Donahue, the holder. 10 out of 12 for the year as Myers made 10 of his last 11. 40-yarder from the right hash mark. And it is no good. Hooked it wide left. Appears to be a swirling breeze here today. He just hooked it, and it's no good. So it's still 7-3 Iowa, with 3:38 to go in the first half. The Ohio State Buckeyes started the day part of a 3-way tie for first in the Big Ten. With Wisconsin and Michigan State. Both the Badgers and Spartans have already won today. And Ohio State trails Iowa 7-3. 3:38 to go in the half. 1st and 10 Buckeyes. Terrelle Pryor kept it. He got chopped down by Tyler Sash at the 27-yard line.
You mentioned about Tyler Sash and the Jim Thorpe Award, and that is a very, very active safety. Smart, controls everything in the back end for them, makes all the calls. But when you see things that open out or break open rather in the open field, Sash is always around him. Takes very good angles. Really good safety.
He's a junior from Oskaloosa, Iowa. Quote in the paper the other day saying he's not sure yet he'll be back next year. He doesn't even want to think about that right now. Boom, Herron, a hard-earned couple of yards. Play was stuffed going to the right. He came back to the left, and Micah Hyde finally made the tackle for Iowa.
Roderick Binns is the left defensive end. He's the guy who shuts the whole thing down and forces it back. And then Hyde's able to clean the whole thing up. Iowa does a good job of rolling their defensive linemen through. They try to keep them fresh.
One of the best rushing teams in the country against the 4th best rush defense in the country. So far today, Ohio State's rushed for only 44 yards. Pryor improves on that total with a first down. He got hip checked out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Tyler Sash. 6 yards on the run for Pryor.
I like the look in Terrelle Pryor's eyes. And I like the fact that when they were down on the 1-yard line, he wanted to go for it. And he made it known on the sideline. And it looks to me like he's like, hey, give me the game. I want the game. You'll love that look.
Under 2 minutes to go in the half now. Pryor, his pass short and almost picked off by Adrian Claiborne in the flat. It was intended for Sanzenbacher, but underthrown, and Claiborne got a hand on it.
Good awareness by Adrian Claiborne. He starts his pass rush and then feels it, and then he bounces back off of it. Watch right here. Watch. He feels it. Now he stops, and then feels that the pass is coming. Good awareness and gets the tip. Pryor pulled the string. He should have a little bit more air under that thing.
One of 4 finalists for the Lombardi Award as the best lineman in the country. One of 16 semifinalists for the Chuck Bednarik Award. Pryor throwing a deep ball, looking for Corey Brown, and he's there, and he couldn't catch it. Off his hands and then incomplete, swatted away by Sean Prater. A ball that he should have caught.
They got the safety out of the way, Sean, and he was wide open. Nobody there, and Corey Brown, you're right, that should have been caught in a big play, but Sean Prater, watch 28, Sean Prater tracks him from the backside. It's a double move. Prater bites, ball hangs in the air.
Oh boy.
Should have been a catch. But credit Prater for coming back. Watch him knock the ball out.
Wonder if that should have been called a face mask. That's the reason Brown is still down.
He goes, yeah, see on the back side of it, yeah. Well, he goes to hit the ball, and then an unintended consequence. Now he's got to let that thing go. The official's right on top of it. I'm with you on that one.
Corey Brown walked off the field under his own power. He's had a couple of drops here in the first half. Minute 43 to go till halftime. Brown, 2-time All-State at Cardinal O'Hara in the Philadelphia area. 3rd and 10, Ohio State. Pryor all day to throw. Fires a bullet for a first down. Devere Posey into Iowa territory to the 43-yard line. Sean Prater made the tackle. 22-yard gain.
Well, it takes a while to be able to have those crossing routes develop, and the offensive line provided all the time he needed. Posey sits down in the hole in that cover too, and it's a big first down.
First catch of the day for Posey. Pryor with a flag down, slings it out to Dan Herron, and he got tackled after a 1-yard gain. Tyler Sash came in to chop him down.
Ohio State, their second timeout. 30-second timeout.
Looked like there was a flag down the line of scrimmage, but that might have just been a loose piece of equipment that the line judge is now actually going in to pick up. So no flag on the play. And a timeout called by Ohio State, leaving the Bucks with 1:16 to go in the half. Today's Aflac trivia question: what 3 coaches share the record for most BCS Bowl appearances? That's in the BCS era, of course, which started in the mid and late 90s.
You spit these out right away.
We don't want people to include Rose Bowl appearances or any of the BCS Bowls before they were BCS Bowls. So in the BCS era, BCS Bowl appearances. You know the answer.
Yeah, because you told me.
Oh.
And you spit them out. Holy smokes, I thought you wrote the question there for a second.
Well, last night, our crack research crew, they ran the question by us, and I think they were a little disappointed when we knew the answer.
Don't say we ain't French.
Okay.
You knew it right on time.
Well, humility is one of my most redeeming qualities.
If you do say so yourself.
I'll have to take credit for knowing the answer. Yes. 2nd and 10. Pryor still behind the line, has another receiver open deep. It floats a bit and it's picked off in the end zone on the deflection. It wound up in the hands of Micah Hyde.
What a great pick. And the Big Nuts not too pleased with that one, because Washington was wide open. The ball hung a little bit, and because it hung, it allowed the defense to be able to recover. I mean, that's as wide open as you can get.
Prater and Sash there, and it got deflected into the hands of Micah Hyde, the sophomore, another Ohioan, one of the 13 on the Iowa team. He's from Fostoria. It's his 3rd interception of the year. You'll recall when we were in the Michigan State game, Tyler Sash picked off a pass, lateraled it to Hyde, who ran 66 yards for a touchdown against the Michigan State Spartans.
Terrelle Pryor threw that ball the wrong side. He had to adjust in the middle of it and then hung it up.
You know, the wind swirling, as we mentioned, seems to be knocking down balls going in that direction, because a couple of kickoffs in that direction have been knocked down by the wind. Adam Robinson fumbled. Marcus Zusevic, the right tackle, fell on it. They haven't lost a fumble in the last 6 games. Matter of fact, Iowa has turned it over only 7 times all year, tied with Oregon State and Wisconsin starting today for the fewest turnovers in the country. They're plus 12, 5th in the country. Ohio State plus 14 starting today, best in the country.
Well, a fortuitous bounce, and Zuzevic's 56 is right there and able to recover and actually picked up a yard on it. The ball clearly out right there. Knees
Fans
knocked
are
down.
booing. They don't like the conservative approach here by Iowa with 2 timeouts. They wanted to see a couple shots down the field. But Kirk Ferentz knows how hard it is to beat Ohio State, and he's content to take the lead into the half. Gives us a moment to answer the Aflac trivia question. What 3 coaches share the record for the most BCS Bowl appearances? And the answer, Jim Tressel, Pete Carroll, and Bob Stoops, all with 7 apiece. And Jim Tressel hoping to make it 8 at the end of this regular season. Defensive battle, as you might expect, at the half. It's Iowa 7, Ohio State 3. Here's John Palmer, John Saunders, Jesse Palmer in a New York studio, the Capital One halftime report.
But he's playing well.
He's the center. Blitz off the corner. Stanzi got hit. Throws. Caught. Touchdown, Marvin McNutt. Second and 10. Pryor still behind the line, has another receiver open deep. It floats a bit and it's picked off in the end zone on the deflection.
The defense to be able to recover. I mean, that's as wide open as you can get.
Prater and Sash there, getting into the hands of Micah Hyde, the sophomore, another Ohioan, one of the 13 on the Iowa team. He's from teams have their eyes on the Big Ten title. Ohio State needs to win today to remain in a tie for first in the Big Ten with Wisconsin and Michigan State with 1 game to go. Their big game next week.
Versus the pass game here in the second half.
Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes don't have any chance at sharing the Big Ten title. They need to win today. They would also need both Wisconsin and Michigan State to lose next week. Not a very likely scenario, but it's possible. Terrelle Pryor and the Buckeye offense will get the ball first in the second half. Mike Meyer will kick off. Again, not a very deep kick. Comes down to Jamal Berry. Up the near hash marks and good coverage by the University of Iowa, led by Greg Castillo, a backup defensive back. Here's a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Senior day, big senior class of Hawkeyes, 26 of them playing in their final home game. An emotional Terrelle Johnson-Culianos. Ricky Stanzi, another senior, the only touchdown of this game, a 19-yard pass to Marvin McNutt. And here's what Matt was talking about. A couple of great chances with the receivers open deep. And that ball by Pryor fluttered in the wind late in the half and was picked off by Micah Hyde. Just 145 yards of offense in the first half for Ohio State. Pryor comes out running. He got popped after an 11-yard gain. Tyler Sash hit him first down. Here's Quint Kessenich.
The difference, he said, the team that makes the first big mistake or makes the first big play. I asked him about his decision to go for the field goal. He said he didn't want to lose momentum. He said he felt he had to walk away with points.
They rallied from 14-3 down at the half last week at home to beat Penn State. And Pryor threw it away, and that was after Tressel gave a very emotional halftime talk. His team described as animated as they've ever seen him. Flag down on that last play. It's against the Buckeyes.
One of the things that Terrelle Pryor does.
He does receiver downfield. 65 offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Justin Boren, the guard, looking for a identity, I suppose, as a receiver. The Boren identity.
Oh,
Thank you
glad
very much.
you explained that.
I'll be here all week.
That was going whizzing by. If that's what it's going to be like all week, we'd like you to leave now instead.
Oh, yeah, did you hear that? Yeah, there was a whole bunch
identity.
of people. Yes, thank you.
Justin Boren transfer from Michigan to Ohio State. He'll play against his old team again next week. Screen to Boom Herron. Trying to get a block from Justin Boren, but didn't get a lot of help. And James Morris, the true freshman linebacker, stopped it at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, that's a nice play by Morris from the inside out, but it doesn't happen at all unless Micah Hyde does what he does. That's a really good play by Hyde to hold off the block, force it back inside where Morris can make the play. There's Micah Hyde, the corner, and he played a pretty good game here through this first half. The other guys, that Tyler Sash and Sean, just watching Terrelle Pryor, that hit that Sash put on him on the first play, they may have done a little bit of shaking up to Terrelle Pryor.
2nd and 10, 5 receivers for Terrelle. Forced back by the rush. Now using his speed to turn the corner. And he's very near the first down marker as he ran out of bounds at the 44.
So one thing of Terrelle Pryor, and everybody, you know, it's been said before, and when you watch him, it's obvious. He is so smooth, and he takes such long strides that he's hard to gauge what kind of speed he has. But when you watch him, he opens up, you know, he runs away from people. He just opens a lead on everybody.
Came up just short of the first down. There was no measurement. Terrelle's had runs of 11 yards and 9 yards on this opening possession of the second half. And Boom Herron gets the first down. Off the 190-yard performance, a career high last week against Penn State. Back-to-back 100-yard games for Herron. He also had one at Minnesota 2 games ago. He says it's just a matter of starting to gel with the offensive line and more reps. For a while he was splitting time, featured back with Brandon Sane. They were both being featured. And now Herron's become the #1 man, and it's helped him establish a rhythm. Pryor faked it to Herron. Flips it ahead. The Stoneburner, the tight end, former wide receiver. Jake out of bounds up the far sideline, and it's the first down. 40-yard line of Iowa.
Now, this was well done by Pryor. He waits for Adrian Claiborne to make a decision. And then after he flips it, That is not much of a jump, but an effective one.
Good for a 14-yard gain. The former wide receiver, sophomore out of Dublin, Ohio. Pryor, a deep drop on 1st and 10. Near flat. Herron breaks the tackle of Sash, who's upset with himself. It took Jeremiah Hunter to get him down. It's a 5-yard gain.
Sash is upset because what I mentioned to you earlier, one of the things he does well.
Sash told us a couple of weeks ago he wanted to quit football after his sophomore year in high school. He was a basketball player. His dad told him to give it one more year. He wound up being an all-state football player. He's had a terrific career at Iowa, and there he is shoving Pryor out of bounds.
And I'll tell you who's had the busiest day all day is that sideline over there on Ohio State side. There have been people tumbling through that thing left and right.
Well, it's so tight over there. It really is dangerous in many ways. It's also tough on the visiting team because the opposing fans are right on top of you, although there are a lot of people in the Scarlet Gray of Ohio State right behind their bench. Well, there are plenty of Hawkeye fans over there too, making life difficult for the visitors. 3rd down and 1. 7 tackles now for Sash. Ohio State on the opening possession of this second half has a 1st down and more. Herron powers his way down to the 25-yard line. Taken down by Brett Greenwood, senior safety in his last home game out of Bettendorf, Iowa. Came here as a walk-on and has started 45 games for Iowa.
Well, that's just a good job by the Bourne brothers. Left guard, just good power, and then Zach, the fullback, right behind him, and then Herron follows the lead.
Terrelle Pryor pitched it back to Herron. 1-yard gain. Jim Tressel told us the other day, Matt, that they've gone to a lot more 2-back sets because Zach Bourne, the fullback, is such a good lead blocker. He just blows people up.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's NFL ready. What you like about a fullback is if they don't stop their feet on contact, and Bourne doesn't. He does a nice job of running through his blocks, and there's always going to be good contact, and because he keeps his feet moving, he generally wins those battles.
First brothers Zach and Justin to start in the same game for Ohio State since the Sullivans, John and Mike, back in 1988. 10th play of the drive for the Buckeyes. 2nd and 9. Looking for a go-ahead touchdown. Pryor goes for the short throw to Stoneburner, and he's short of a 1st down, and a late flag throws down as he's tackled by Jeremiah Hunter. There are 2 flags down. And it's for a face mask penalty against the Hawkeyes.
Personal foul. Face mask, number 42 defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
On Hunter, another senior playing in his final home game and making his 35th career start. No question about the call.
That's a good call by the official, hands right there. And any time your hand gets caught up in there, they're going to flag it right away.
Pryor's 4 for 4 passing on the drive, and he's rushed for 24. And he rushes for 3 more to the 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Remember, we had this Ohio State team a year ago, and one of the question marks of the group was how well their offensive line would come together, and I think it's really come together. Particularly Mike Adams on that left side. You knew Bourne was a tough guy inside, and Brewster, the center's back. It's just a good cohesive group, and they play well collectively.
Taking 6 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock to open the 3rd quarter. Pryor to the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Reed Fragel.
Watch 89 Reed Fragel, 88 rather, I'm sorry. And it's just a simple, it's just a stick. Why not it's a Y stick? And he just uses his body, just basketballs it. And the ball's where it has to be. 6 quick.
He's a big target, 6'8", 260. Sophomore from Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan. His first touchdown of the year. And now the extra point for Barkley. And it's a 3-point lead for Ohio State. A very impressive opening drive to start the second half. 5-yard pass Pryor to Fragel. 10-7 Buckeyes. Back into a tie with Ricky Stanzi for the Big Ten lead. More importantly, he gets his team ahead.
Sean, I think when Tyler Sash hit him on that first run, he got up a little gingerly and started to move his shoulder then. I think that's what happened.
Drew Basil line drive kickoff. Bouncing to Keenan Davis. Buckeyes with excellent kickoff coverage today. And they get Davis down at the 22, tackled by Jamie Wood. Here's a look at today's Chick-fil-A drive recap, and it was the drive to begin the second half by Ohio State, engineered by Terrelle Pryor. They went 12 plays and 77 yards. Pryor did it with his legs and through the air. 5 for 5 passing for 36 yards, including the 5-yard touchdown to Reed Fragel, his first career touchdown reception. Iowa trails for the first time today. They come out running with Adam Robinson off right tackle. Out to the 26. He gained 4. We're still looking at Pryor.
You know, some of the toughest guys in terms of managing pain that I've ever been around have been quarterbacks, because they take some shots standing in the pocket and then getting out of the pocket. In this instance, Terrelle Pryor is a guy who, he takes off and runs, and so he opens himself up to some big hits, and I think Sash's hit affected him.
Stanzi, quick pop to Darrell Johnson. Koulianos fighting for every yard out to the 49-yard line. Orion Johnson pulled him down. 23-yard gain. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Terrelle Pryor appears to be okay. Coming off the field, right shoulder pain, sat down on the bench. Trainers gave his shoulder a massage. Now, since then, he's been pacing up and down the sideline, trying to keep that shoulder loose. So there's no ice involved. His equipment's still on. He looks like he's going to return to action.
Already midway through the third quarter. High formation now behind Stanzi. Throws short for Adam Robinson, who got stopped in his tracks by Brian Roll. But he's into Ohio State territory to the 46-yard line.
And one of the things we talked about at the start of the game was that Ricky Stanzi had to play himself an efficient and probably his best game in order to beat this Ohio State defense. And so far, he's played pretty well, Sean. There's a couple of opportunities that he had that he pulled off and dumped down underneath, but he's been relatively effective. Well, not relatively, he has been effective.
23 touchdown passes this year and 4 interceptions. Last year he threw 15 interceptions. Much improved decision maker. On the rollout has Marvin McNutt. First down and much more. Chopped down at the 28 by Chimney Chekwa. 18 yards and a first down for the Hawkeyes, who are trying to answer the Ohio State score.
Now, this is another good decision because it's a quick decision and the ball is out of his hands fast. And by making the quick decision, he allows McNutt to be able to not only make the catch, he puts it in a place to do something with it, and he picks up even more yards after the catch.
8 different receivers for Stanzi today. 4 completions to McNutt, who's now the team leader for the year with 45 receptions. Stanzi, another quick set and quick pass to Brad Herron for a 2-yard gain. Here's Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Thank you. Interesting. Monty Ball and his teammates likely cheering for Ohio State. They want a 3-way tie for the Big Ten regular season title. because if it ends in a two-way tie, Wisconsin and Michigan State, Wisconsin loses the head-to-head tiebreaker. Adam Robinson for another 2 yards to the 24-yard line. It'll be third down with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan State rallied from 15 points down in a wild game at home today to beat Purdue. Wisconsin won at Michigan, so they're both 6-1. Michigan State beat Wisconsin, and Wisconsin beat Ohio State. Head-to-head's the first tiebreaker. Michigan State and Ohio State do not play each other this year. Stanzi throws behind McNutt. Looked like he never saw it coming, and then he got laid out by Hines, who draws a flag. And Jim Tressel doesn't like that call, and once again he's almost out to the numbers.
McNutt never got his head turned around, and the ball was put where it had to be. And let's see what they do with this flag.
Personal foul. 7 defense. Giving the defenseless receiver. After this is going to go. Automatic first down.
I don't know if I like that flag. That's a hit on a defenseless receiver that they're calling. Watch McNutt right down here. He's going to get out into the route. Now he doesn't get his head around. Ooh, I can see why. He went head to head. That's why they called it.
That was helmet to helmet. Oh yeah, that is definitely a penalty. The 7th for Ohio State for 68 yards, well above their norm. First and 10. They had him stopped. It would have been a field goal, try to tie it. Now still a chance on this drive for a touchdown in the lead for Iowa. 4.5 to go third quarter. Robinson in trouble behind the line and stopped for a 1-yard loss. Brian Rose had a terrific game with help from Orion Johnson.
And Cameron Hayward. And Cameron Hayward doesn't make the tackle. He makes the play. He forces that thing and blows it up in the backfield. And then it forces Robinson to have to redirect. And then Roll comes to the rescue. Cameron Hayward, a big, powerful man, really plays well in the run game. Not a pure pass rusher. That's the part of his game he needs to improve.
Son of the late Craig Ironhead Hayward, NFL running back. He died at age 39 after a lengthy battle with brain tumors. 9th play of this Iowa drive. Stanzi has McNutt and missed him. Devon Torrance turned to catch back up to McNutt. But McNutt was open for a bit, and they just couldn't connect.
Well, he never set his feet. He tried to jump and throw that thing. McNutt's open now. He throws it the opposite side.
Wanted to make sure he didn't throw it into the defense and risk an interception.
Torrance is sitting on the inside.
There's another third down. 4 out of 8, much improved over last week at Northwestern when they were 2 out of 14 on third down. 3rd and 11. They get a first down at the 2. Plenty of time. Stanzi pulls it down, throws it away in the general direction of Adam Robinson. Good defense by Ohio State. They hold and force a field goal try.
That is good defense by Ohio State. Good coverage all the way around. Stanzi rolls to his left. Now a better throw would have given him a completion, but not a first down. There's Torrance. Now he has to play in between. The safety comes over, and that takes care of Johnson Koulianos.
Mike Meyer missed one in the first half, wide left from 40 yards from the right hash mark. This is 31 yards from the left hash mark, and it is good. And there with 3:26 to go in the third quarter. Ohio State and Iowa are tied at 10. Iowa Hawkeyes have won 17 of their last 20 here at Kinnick Stadium. They just kicked the field goal to tie up Ohio State at 10 apiece. 3:26 to go in the third quarter. Ohio State got the opening kickoff of the second half. They held the ball for 6 minutes and 24 seconds and scored a touchdown, and then a 5-minute and 10-second drive for Iowa. They got a field goal from Meyer, who just made a huge mistake and kicked the kickoff out of bounds.
Well, he's been brutal on kickoffs all day.
By the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 40-yard line.
He's had short kickoffs all day, so it looked like he wanted to try more of a line drive squibber, and that didn't work. He hooked it out of bounds. Back in Iowa City, Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick, our producer Bo Garrett, our director Mike Roy. Delighted to have you with us for Ohio State and Iowa. 10-10 game late in the third quarter. Boom Herron on 1st and 10. Slither ahead for 3. Adrian Claiborne, James Morris made the tackle.
You know, one of the things we talked about was how well Boom Herron has been running the ball as of late. And today they've done a pretty darn good job against him. I think Terrelle Pryor has himself about 50 yards, but they've taken Herron and they've put the lid on him.
Yeah, just 38 yards rushing for Herron on 11 carries. They give him another try running left, and that's just 1 yard, and Claiborne again. And we mentioned earlier, Matt, Claiborne's numbers are way down from last year in terms of sacks, tackles for a loss. We asked Phil Parker, who's been serving as a defensive coordinator-ish. They don't want to give him that title with Norm Parker not fully involved in the program right now. If he's had a lesser year, he said, well, you know, he's gotten a lot more attention, a lot of double teams, but there are times he's tried to do too much as well.
Yeah, and they've slid to him, and they've checked guys on him, and they've kept the tight end to his side. But when you're a great one now, you have to expect that, and you got to kick your game up.
You have to do it for the 4 quarters. He ran out of gas, it appeared, in the 4th quarter last week at Northwestern. Pryor over the middle, dropped through the hands of the usually reliable Dane Sanzenbacher, and Ohio State will have to punt.
Well, there's certainly enough time to throw, and the ball's where it has to be, and this is purely on Sanzenbacher. And you said, Sean, this guy is a sure-handed guy, but this time his hands failed him.
Iowa coaches offered Sanzenbacher a scholarship. He would like to stick with his home state universities from the Toledo area. Ben Buchanan to punt. Fair catch made by Paul Cheney.
How about Kyle Orton? He is throwing the heck out of the football this year.
On the 15, Adam Robinson ahead for 5. Orion Johnson, Solomon Thomas combined on the stop.
And we talked about Adam Robinson a few times, and we've been impressed with him, Sean. You and I both talked about him the last few games that we've had him. He's a tough guy, has very good balance, hard to knock off his feet, but strength is one of his strengths. He runs through a lot of tackles.
Averaging 102 yards per game rushing. That's 4th in the Big Ten. Didn't start today. Minor academic issue kept him out of the 1st quarter. He has 19 yards rushing today. He's in trouble and dropped for a loss. Brian Roll again. What a game he's playing. And Jermail Hines dropped him back at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, that time his strength runs through the first tackle right here. Gets rid of Holman, and then because he has that strength, it gives him a 2-yard loss after that. And Roll again with another tackle. Very active.
9th. They marked it at the 18-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and 7 for Iowa. The final minute of the 3rd quarter and a 10-10 tie. Just a 3-man rush. Stanzi in traffic, caught, 1st down. Marvin McNutt across the 30-yard line to the 32. Roland Hines again on the stop. 14 yards, 1st down Iowa.
You mentioned it, 3-man rush. That means 8 men back there defending. And in this particular instance, this is the best throw I've seen him make all day. Right in between 2 defenders in front of a 3rd, and he puts it right where it has to be. You know, this McNutt is a guy who's underrated, Sean. He has a big body. He's not a speed guy, but he runs good routes and very good hands, uses his body well.
Both McNutt and Johnson Koulianos, two outstanding wide receivers, came to Iowa as quarterbacks. They're a great tandem. End of the third quarter, tied at 10.
最近通販型の自動車保険に切り替える人が増えていると聞いた加藤さんご夫婦。アクサダイレクトで検討を始めたご様子。
保険料はいくら？
保証は大丈夫？
最近フィットに変えた加藤さんご夫婦の場合、ゴールド免許でお安く、年間走行距離が短いのでお安く、家族だけ運転する場合さらにお安く。アクサダイレクトはあなたの条件を細かく聞いて無駄のない保険料を実現。もちろん対人対物賠償も無制限。しかも同乗者のための保証もついて安心。
車庫入れ苦手だし、車両保険も必要かな？
ご安心ください。車両保険をつけてもアクサならこの保険料。単独事故でも保証されるフルカバータイプだから安心。
無料の付帯サービスもいいね。
事故や故障の時、携帯 GPS からお客様の現在地をキャッチ、サポートします。バッテリー上がり、鍵開けも無料で対応。レッカーサービスは最寄りの当社指定修理工場まで距離に関係なく無料で牽引。レンタカーは2日間まで OK。
頼もしいね。
プリウスに変えたらいくらかな？
プリウスの場合この保険料。
通販って事故の時どうすればいいの？
アクサダイレクトなら事故の際も安心の社員対応。プロの確かなアドバイスでいち早くサポート。2時間以内にあなたが頼れる担当者をご案内します。さらに解決までチーム体制でサポート。示談交渉もお任せください。
安心だね。アクサで見積もりしてみようか。
テレビの前のあなたも自動車保険はアクサダイレクトへ。安心をグッドプライスでお届けいたします。次はあなたの保険料をお見積もりください。
3つの書類をお手元に用意してフリーダイヤル 0120-989-112 989-112 まで。リーディファイニングスタンダードアクサダイレクト。バイク保険もアクサで通販。
College football on ABC presented by K Jewelers. On we go to the fourth quarter. Ohio State needing a win to remain in a three-way tie for first place in the Big Ten with Wisconsin and Michigan State. Any hope Iowa has of a piece of the Big Ten title means they have to win today. Adam Robinson up the middle. About 10 and perhaps another first down, depending on where they spot it near the 42-yard line. Opening play of the fourth quarter, a 10-yard run for Adam Robinson, the sophomore from Des Moines.
Watch Brett Morse right there, 36 on Holman. Nice physical play and allows Robinson to be able to pick his spots and picks up a first down.
Longest run of the day for Robinson. It was good for a first down. Morse, a senior, excellent blocking fullback out of Willowbrook, Illinois. Stanzi all day to throw, going deep into double coverage, and it is incomplete. They're lucky it wasn't picked off. Jermail Hines had the best shot at it. He was there with Chimdi Chekwa covering Terrelle Koulianos.
Yeah, Chekwa's running right with him, but what a nice adjustment at the end of this route by Johnson Koulianos. Watch Chekwa, he's running with him, he's top shoulder, Hines underneath. Now watch this. That had an opportunity. He gave them an opportunity just with that move to come back underneath.
You know what's interesting, we mentioned Johnson Koulianos from Youngstown, Ohio, wanted to go to Ohio State. It didn't work out, came here, was a quarterback, had never played receiver. He told me last night, after a few days of playing wide receiver, I thought, I am never going to play at Iowa. I am never going to get the hang of this receiving thing. And here he is now, their all-time leading receiver and one of the best in the country. Roll sends Robinson back. The young man who's overcome a lot of adversity in his life. His biological dad died when he was a toddler. His biological mom left when he was a very young boy. He was taken in by the Koulianos family, the family of his best friend in the 4th and 5th grade, Steve Koulianos. There's Dr. and Mrs. Koulianos, who wound up adopting Terrelle after a couple of years, Lauren and Tony. He is exceptionally close with them, and they are incredibly loving to him and so proud. They were all in tears on the field before the game today. And Terrelle knows how blessed he has been, both in his life and with the way it turned out for him here at Iowa. And he's been a terrific player and a great person here in this program. The target again with the pass incomplete.
And still a lot of football to be played for him. And an opportunity at the next level I'm sure will come his way. Not a real fast guy, but he sees and sits down and holds very, very well in zones and pretty physical when he gets to man.
The only thing I don't like about him is he wants our job. Communications major. He's going to graduate in December. All 26 of these seniors on pace to graduate either in December or in May. Ryan Donahue punts it away. 13.5 minutes to go. Jordan Hall made the first and second and third men miss, but not the fourth. Sean Prater took him down.
Everybody talks about Taylor Martinez and the weapons on that Nebraska offense, but it's their defense that's been playing really, really well.
That's what helps you win on the road. Huskers have won 9 straight regular season road games. Pryor off target looking for Sanzenbacher on the far sideline.
And don't forget, Sean, this Iowa defense that has played well all season long has ironically not played very well in fourth quarter.
They fell way behind in their first loss of the year at Arizona, rallied to tie it, but then gave up a 72-yard touchdown drive for the Wildcats to win the game for Arizona. They had the lead against Wisconsin. We were here when Wisconsin had the 80-yard drive to win the game late in the fourth quarter. Then last week at Northwestern, Iowa led 17-7. Northwestern had 2 long touchdown drives of 85 and 91. They don't want history to repeat itself, so Prater drops Pryor at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's well done by Binns, and then Prater coming off the corner. And if you're going to defend any kind of an option team, you have to be good tacklers, but more importantly, look at Binns right here. You have to be good tacklers in space. So Binns is waiting for him to make the move. And even though he missed him, he slowed things down enough to allow Prater to come down and make the tackle.
In particular was that defensive line last week that really looked winded, trying to stay up with that high tempo Northwestern attack engineered by Dan Person. They look a lot fresher in this fourth quarter. Pryor's pass is intercepted on the ricochet. It deflected off Morris to Prater, and he's pulled down at the 28-yard line.
The whole thing is made possible from Adrian Claiborne's pressure and forces him to step up, and then good pressure by Morris coverage by Morris 44 to make Sanzenbacher go on top of him. There's the pressure, and then see Morris stay with him. In fact, I think it hit Morris.
It did.
That's a nice job by the freshman, and then Claiborne, of course, gets the pressure to force the whole thing.
4th interception of the year for Prater, junior from Omaha, Nebraska. 2 interceptions thrown today by Pryor. Iowa has not turned it over today. They go back to the freshman Marcus Coker down the sideline and down inside the 5.
Nice job of everybody getting on the block. Reisner is the key. He starts inside and gets a double, pulls off, and allows him to get the edge.
Ryan Johnson saved the touchdown, pulled down the powerful Coker at the 1. 26-yard gain for the freshman, who's been terrific today. Reisner in motion on 1st and goal. Coker again. Touchdown, Iowa.
During the break, Sean, you and I said, hey, we need to see this Coker kid some more. He's a big, powerful kid. And boy, they inserted him, and he shows his power and his speed.
You joined us late. Coker started a running back for Adam Robinson, who was held out of the first quarter for a minor academic issue. Coker was excellent in the first quarter. Now he's back into the fourth quarter, and it's his first career touchdown. 2 plays after the interception. Iowa goes back on top, 17-10. Sean Prater's 4th interception of the season set it up, and Iowa converts. Ricky Stanzi in the offense needed just 2 plays to punch it in after the second interception of the day thrown by Terrelle Pryor. Ohio State, best in the country in turnover margin starting the day, is -2 in turnover margin today. Jordan Hall brings back the Meyer kickoff, bounces off, hits, and advances it back to the 38, perhaps even the 39-yard line. Anthony Hitchens made the tackle, 33-yard return.
I want you to watch Allen Reisner right here. He's the tight end. This is what a tight end should do. In order to run outside, you have to A, secure the edge, and then take care of force. He does both of them and allows the big 26-yard run. And then on the touchdown, I want you to watch him again. Right inside, you have to be able to clear the edge, which he does on Holman again, and Coker follows him in for the score. Good series by a tight end.
Reisner probably looking at an NFL future, the latest in a long line of NFL tight ends out of Iowa, including Dallas Clark and Tony Moyaki. Pryor on first down, runs across the far boundary at the 43, a gain of 4.
You mentioned Tony Moyaki, and what a rookie year he's having for the Kansas City Chiefs. This Reisner has picked up the slack, and he's a Mackey Award semifinalist.
One of the 8 semifinalists.
What you like to see is, hey, he can catch the ball, but his work at the line of scrimmage is what separates him.
Those are the numbers we were talking about, the turnover differential. They rallied to win last week. Can they do it again? 2nd and 6, Ohio State. Herron comes up about 2 short of the first down. Here's Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Virginia Tech trying to wrap up their division in the ACC with a win. 3rd and 2. Pryor started one way, goes back the other, and gets a first down across midfield before he was collared by Broderick Binns.
And this is just all Terrelle Pryor. He's going to reverse his field. He knows Claiborne's taking leverage away from him to the outside. And then he just gets around to Binns. He picks up the first, but Binns does a good job of holding the backside.
Pryor 60 yards rushing today. Needs 18 more to reach 2,000 for his career. Only Cornelius Green has run for more at Ohio State among quarterbacks. And Pryor's going to break that record. Herron, great power after the catch, and he has another first down inside the 40-yard line to the 38. James Morris and Micah Hyde. And the question I would have for you, Matt Kennett, where on the psyche of a defense when you know several times this year you've coughed up leads in the 4th quarter?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's why I know it's in their minds, because when they come to the sidelines, they're being reminded 4th quarter. You got to be strong in the 4th quarter.
After the play fake by Pryor, throws it short to Stoneburner, the tight end, just inside the 35-yard line.
You can see how much respect they have for Pryor when he gets on the edge, because the defenders of Iowa don't want to commit.
Trying to protect a 7-point lead with 9.5 minutes to go. Whistle, illegal procedure. The tight end Jake Stoneburner moved.
False start. 11 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
8th Ohio State penalty. Tomorrow night, don't miss the American Music. When
That's
this many of music's hottest stars perform live on television, no one can predict what will happen tomorrow night. 8/7 Central on ABC, the American Music Awards. 2nd and 11. Pryor across the middle, and near another first down is DeVere Posey, junior out of Cincinnati. He's had a quiet day by his standards. 2nd catch. Troy Johnson tackled him.
And DeVere Posey just running the underneath route, and a good job of Pryor with good patience, eyes down the field, not there, dump it underneath to Posey.
Buckeyes went quickly, and is a first down. 3rd down and 1, and Pryor kept it, used that 6'6" frame to get the first down. And they come up quickly again. Probably a 2 plays called in the huddle. Low throw, bad throw by Pryor. Too low for Stoneburner to handle.
I like the way that Ohio State has picked the pace up here, Sean. And I think what you talked about from a week ago when that Iowa defense looked gassed, they're taking a page out of that book, and they've picked up the pace in an effort to do two things. One, to give Pryor an ability to use his feet and get on the edges, and two, to slow this defense down by maybe tiring it out.
8.5 minutes to go. If Ohio State could win today and win next week at home against Michigan, they'd be guaranteed at least a share of their 6th straight Big Ten title. Pryor sacked back at the 31-yard line by Christian Ballard and Mike Daniels.
That one's all on Christian Ballard. The left defensive end just takes the beltway all the way around. You're going to watch him. He gets to the top side on shoe guard 76 with a nice overhand swim move. And because the coverage was good down the field, Pryor had to pull it down, and the end result was a sack.
First sack of the day for either team. Ballard comes off the field. Just his 2nd sack of the year for the senior in his final home game. 3rd and 14. Pryor deep down the middle and incomplete. Diving attempt made, but Corey Brown, the freshman, couldn't catch that one either. He's had a shot at about 3 balls today that he hasn't quite been able to come up with.
Yeah, something must have been wrong in that route. Somebody, because they should not be, these guys should not be right there. Now, he had pressure inside from Adrian Claiborne late, but that didn't look like the route was right.
This would be the longest field goal of his career for Devin Barclay if he can make it. Previous long is a 42-yarder. 1 for 1 today. A chip shot from 18. 48-yard kick. He got plenty of it, and it is good. Devin Barclay has Ohio State within 4. 17-13. Iowa leads with 7.5 minutes to go. Pacific Life game summary. Back and forth ball game between Ohio State and Iowa. The only touchdown of the first half. Ricky Stanzi to Marvin McNutt. Iowa led 7-3 at the break, but Ohio State took the opening kickoff of the second half, went right down the field prior to Reed Fragel. Gave the Buckeyes the lead. Iowa tied it with a field goal. Took the lead on a 1-yard touchdown run by Marcus Coker, the first touchdown of his career. That came right after an interception by Sean Prater. And a moment ago, Devin Barclay, longest field goal of his career, a 48-yarder to get the Buckeyes within 4. Darrell Johnson Koulianos to the 29-yard line. There are flags down on the return. Let's send you back to Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York.
During the return, holding. 50 on the return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
And Illinois with a win would be bowl eligible. The holding penalty against Lance Tillison of Iowa. So the Hawkeyes, protecting a 4-point lead, will start at their own 19 midway through the 4th quarter. And Marcus Coker, the true freshman, is the running back. 3 wide receivers for Ricky Stanzi on 1st and 10. And he's in trouble, and Ohio State has its first sack of the ball game. Dexter Larimore on top of the pile, and underneath him was John Simon. The 2 defensive tackles got there.
Yeah, John Simon is the guy that you really like to watch him play, number 54. He's not a real big guy, but he has, I said it earlier, he's got a great motor. There's just not enough of him. I think at the next level he'll have to play a linebacker, but boy, there's a lot to like about Simon.
A big play early in the year against Minnesota, returned a fumble for a touchdown and then win over the Gophers. Stanzi On 2nd and 16. Throws to the far side to McNutt. Banged out of bounds by Devon Torrance, short of the first down. The gain to the 24-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5 after an 11-yard pickup for Iowa.
And right now, Sean, at the 6-minute mark, 6.5-minute mark, this is a critical first down because you and I have been observing this defense kind of tired at the end of that last drive. Saw Ballard was sucking a little bit of air, and Claiborne also sucking a little bit of air. So this is a big first down right here just in terms of recuperation.
Buckeye showing blitz. They rushed 4. Stanzi's pass batted down. Big play again by John Simon.
Good players make big plays at critical times, and that's what Simon just did. Great wherewithal, coming along on a loop and sees where the ball is being thrown, gets his hands up and knocks her down.
Jim Haycock, the terrific defensive coordinator, says Simon loves to play, gets off blocks, very active. There's 4 tackles today. Ryan Donahue, a good punt. Jordan Hall had to retreat to make a fair catch. Way back at the 24-yard line. 52-yard punt with no return, but a chance for Pryor and the Buckeyes to take the lead after this. They're all very much alive, and Hamlin qualified 38th, so he'll start near the back of the pack. 1st and 10. Brandon Sain, some fresh legs in there, running back, and he goes spinning ahead for 11, maybe even 12. The 35-yard line.
They've liked that edge the whole night on both sides. What they are able to do that, the reason why is because the receivers have done a good job of blocking down the field, Sean. And they've captured the edge, and he's been able to get there and pick up good yardage all night long.
Trying to take advantage of the 3 and out by the Ohio State defense. Just their 2nd today. They average 6 per game, 2nd in the country behind TCU. 5.5 to go. Buckeyes down by 4. Pryor hold it down. 6 more to the 41-yard line. Sean Prater the stop for Iowa. And again, Pryor has his hand up on that right shoulder as if it's still bothering him.
I think the better defensive play that was made right there was the umpire. The umpire tried to get out of the way so he wouldn't take a hit. Pryor had to cut inside off of him.
Well, you wouldn't worry about fatigue on the Iowa defense because the pace from Ohio State today offensively nowhere near the frenzied pace by Northwestern in the 2nd half last week. 2nd and 4. Takes the check down to Boom. Herron first down near midfield. He got to the 50, pulled out by Micah Hyde. 9-yard gain. First down, Ohio State.
Good patience by Pryor. Nicely protected. Eyes down the field again. The coverage takes away the main thing, and so he just dumps it off underneath. Very patient and nice job keeping this drive going.
Terrelle bouncing back from a performance last week against Penn State that he described as terrible. He was 8 for 13 passing last week against the Nittany Lions. Straight back here. Look out for Claiborne. He got it off, but an errant throw. Looking for the tight end, Stoneburner.
Well, we've talked about it a lot of times. Adrian Claiborne on the top against Mike Adams. Hey, your good players have to make big plays in critical times. This is the time for Adrian Claiborne to shine. At the end of the Wisconsin game, we said the same thing, and Rich Karimi took it to him in the run game. Now he's got to be able to turn it up.
7 tackles for Claiborne today. Pryor after the fake. Throws short, low, and a little behind Stoneburner, who couldn't catch it. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Troy Johnson had the coverage.
Sets up this big 3rd down, and Binns does a good job, Sean. He doesn't commit. He just shadows him, and he wants him to force the throw.
Perhaps one of the most important plays of this Big Ten season. Pryor looking deep, firing it deep, has a man open down the far sideline, dropped by DeVere Posey.
You could not have drawn up a better play or thrown a better ball. The only thing missing is at the end. Posey runs right through the coverage. Nobody there. Sash can't get there, and he can't hold on. Perfectly thrown ball.
And the Buckeyes might have just seen their chances for a 6th straight Big Ten title go through the hands of Posey. Disbelief on the Buckeye side, but still 4 minutes to go. Going for it on 4th and 10. Pryor.
He's got it.
He's got a lot of running room if he decides to go. Needs the 40-yard line. Has that and more. Down to the 36-yard line. 14 yards and a first down. Micah Hyde made the tackle.
He just take this thing over, Sean. He knows he's got nothing down the field. They dropped 7.
They come up quickly again, and it's Sanzenbacher with the catch at the 31-yard line. Clock running, 3:35 to go. Both teams with all 3 timeouts left. Posey hoping his teammates pick him up after he dropped the pass that would have given them the lead. Herron bouncing left, first down to the 25-yard line. Christian Ballard the tackle for Iowa.
Iowa's just sitting back there with both safeties deep, which means this is the type of defense you'd like to run at.
And again, problems with defensive linemen, either winded or injured. Ballard down on a knee, and they're going to come out and take a look at him. Last year, when Iowa went 11-2 and won the Orange Bowl, they won all of the close games. This year they have not. Last year they won 4 games, Matt, by 3 points or less. And we talked about this year, the leads they've let get away. Their 3 losses have been by a total of 12 points this season.
And it's at the end of the game when they have traditionally been a strong defensive team, and you expect that their defense is going to save the day, and in fact it has not.
Working on the left leg of Christian Ballard, senior out of Lawrence, Kansas, playing in his final home game.
Christian Ballard is a guy that kind of flies under the radar, but he has a lot of talent. He runs very well. He's a 300-pounder, can play inside at tackle, can play outside at defensive end, and he'll have a great shot at the next level.
Don't want to lose him, but they could definitely use the momentum stopper there, as Ohio State had Iowa's defense on its heels. 5 tackles and a sack today for Ballard. Ohio State started the day 5-1 in the Big Ten, tied with Michigan State and Wisconsin. Michigan State a dramatic come from behind win at home today against Purdue. Wisconsin won at Michigan. They're both 6-1. Ohio State trying to stay in the tie. Just 1 game remaining for all 3 teams after today. Pryor, deep drop, short throw, caught by Sanzenbacher. Looked like if he had let him, it would have been a touchdown, but Sanzenbacher had to come back for a throw that was a little short.
This is good by Pryor, Sean.
Yep, he's going fast. They'll mark it at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, they want to see, because he may have been out of bounds when he fell.
Yep, and the replay booth's going to stop it.
It's under further review.
Yeah, they're smart to try, but they're not going to outsmart these Big Ten replay folks.
Ball's up.
Yeah, left foot's in. He's good. Did he have it all the way to the ground?
I don't know if his foot touched.
Well, it wobbled a little bit.
Kind of interesting.
There's been a lot of emphasis about firm control all the way down to the ground.
Yeah,
I don't think he had that.
Yeah, I don't know if that ball, let's see if he controls it. If the foot, see, the foot doesn't look like the foot ever touched it.
Yeah,
there it did.
I think he just tapped it there with the ball. And,
and he bobbled it.
Yeah, I think
he bobbled it.
Based on the videos we've seen, and Terry McCauley, who's the supervisor of officials in the Big East, was nice enough to send all of us at ESPN a video that went through just this. And the emphasis is really the control of the ball. Correct. All the way through the catch.
Foot touches. Then he has to be able to control the ball all the way through the catch.
And again, a reminder that the call on the field was a catch, so it has to be indisputable. Video evidence to overturn it. Steve Beckman, the replay official. This is a big call with the Big Ten title part of the backdrop here.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball was caught. First and 10, first and goal for Ohio State.
They watched the same thing we did. They says you have control all the way through. I like the call.
24-yard gain for Sanzenbacher, and now they're poised to take the lead. Kirk Ferentz has seen this movie before, and he doesn't like the ending. Can they rewrite the script with 2:41 to go and come up with a goal line stand? Herron into the pile, didn't get there. Driven back. Now, if you're Iowa, would you consider starting to use your timeouts here?
Yeah, you know, you want to be able to save him on one hand, but you want to give yourself enough time on the other. And this is something that they've gone over a bunch of times, so I guess their answer is we'll save our timeouts. I think I'd take them, Sean, because in college football, when they get a first down, it stops the clock. You can't get your time back.
Under 2 minutes to go. Second and goal. Herron again to the goal line. Touchdown, Ohio State.
Watch the ball, see if it breaks the plane.
Yes.
Yes, right there.
Great effort by Herron. James Moore is trying to drive him back.
Posey said, thank you, boys, for picking me up.
Chance for the lead slipped through his fingers. Pryor and the Buckeyes picked him up. Now they have to protect the lead. Barclay with a critical extra point. And there's a flag down. Prater started across from the left end of the Iowa line.
Offside defense. At the distance of the goal, retry.
Barclay has never missed an extra point.
Just tempting fate, aren't you? .66 out of 66 in his career as a Buckeye.
And right down the middle. Well, the Buckeyes overcame the big drop by Posey in the end zone. They convert a fourth down, go 76 yards in 12 plays, and take the lead on the run by Herron. Well, there's been some great action today all over the country, including here in Iowa City, a back and forth game. Terrelle Pryor converts on 4th down and 10 from near midfield with a 14-yard run, and Ohio State goes the rest of the way to get the go-ahead touchdown. They lead by 3. Drew Basil kicks off. Down to Paul Cheney. Good return by Cheney, the track athlete. Brings it back to the 37-yard line. BCS standings factor in. If it's a 3-way tie, it could come down to the tiebreaker being the highest ranked team in the BCS, and right now that's Wisconsin. Screen. Whoa, they blew up the receiver. It looked like before the ball got there. Jermail Hines with the hit.
And Adam Robinson's on the ground.
Yeah, that pass is across the line of scrimmage. He got blown up. Looked like before the ball was there. There's no flag of any kind.
Yeah, he did get him before.
At the very least, it's pass interference. And Robinson still flat on his back. Crowd's unhappy. They thought it should have been pass interference as well.
There's Robinson right here, and Jamel Hines is going to read that thing. It's a nice read. He just gets there too fast. And it should have been a flag, but they don't call it.
Yeah, that's a bad miss, because from up here live, I mean, that was a pretty obvious penalty and a high hit as well. With all this emphasis on high hits and targeting. Robinson still down. He did suffer a concussion near the end of the Michigan State game, their big win here over the Spartans, and did not play the following game. That was 2 weeks ago. He sat out their win at Indiana. Returned to play last week at Northwestern. He's already had one concussion this year. With all the attention given to concussions, and rightly so, the concern heightens when your player's already had a concussion and a history of concussions. He's back up on his feet. That hurts them. They're going to have to lean on the pass, you would think, here, and he's one of their leading pass receivers. He's a better receiver out of the backfield than Coker.
And I don't see Coker going in, and one of the other, they're not real sure of where Coker's hands are rather in.
Yeah, he's only one catch all year. So maybe they'll play with extra wide receivers, put the fullbacks in there. Their fullbacks can catch it. But Robinson had 4 catches today, 24 for the year. And now they're without him, a key weapon, as they try to come from 3 points down. 1:34 to go. Stanzi under duress, needs to get rid of it and does. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
A nice job of coverage by Ohio State down the field, and then also they get the pressure up inside. Right there, and then Simon is able to put more pressure as he gets out. But look at the coverage down the field. There's really nowhere really to go.
Stanzi just 2 for his last 9 passing. Straight back to pass, forced to pull it down. He's sacked by Cameron Hayward.
Great coverage, Sean. Great coverage down the field by Ohio State. And because they give him the coverage, nowhere to go. Look outside. Johnson Koulianos, nothing. Janey down the field, nothing. McNutt to the inside, nothing again. Holman gets his coverage on the other side. It forces him to have to pull this thing down right now. And then Hayward finishes it off and sets up a big 4th and, what is it, 20-ish?
Yeah, 21. They lost 11. It'll be 4th and 21. Iowa has called a timeout. So they're going to have to go for it. Right before the defense took the field, Zach Bourne, the fullback, went over to Cameron Hayward, said, hey, we just got you the lead. Now you guys do the job and finish them off.
Well, he took his advice.
Hayward did it.
Yes, he did. And that was big, not giving up on the play. Blocked initially. It's okay to be blocked. Don't stay blocked. Cameron Hayward did not stay blocked and gets a big 3rd down sack.
Ohio State trying to stay tied for first with a win, and they will go for it. Iowa, 4th and 21. Buckeyes converted on 4th and 10 on their go-ahead drive moments ago. Only a 4-man rush, and still they force Stanzi out of the pocket, waving desperately, throws it up for grabs, caught but short of the 1st down by McNutt. And Ohio State will take over on downs at the 44-yard line as McNutt came up 2 yards short of the marker. Needed 21. They got 19. Holman and Hines stopped them shy of the first down yardage.
And with 2 opportunities to stop the clock, that should be the game.
That Ohio State defense, 2 straight 3-and-outs when they needed it most. Now just hang on to the football if you're the Buckeyes. Herron into the pile. They'll try to strip him, and they cannot. And I will use the timeout with 1:04 to go. Micah Hyde made the tackle. 1 timeout left for the Hawkeyes. 8, 7 Central on ABC.
Are the new kids in the block going to be an
No, they're not. It's the final 3 no one saw coming. I'm just laughing. Did you see the story the other day about the fellow was so upset about Bristol Palin's dancing that he shot out his TV set?
Is that right?
Took a gun out, shot his TV.
Not good.
No, he didn't want to watch it anymore. You can just turn the channel. That's a little bit of a dramatic response.
You know, Sean, if we had to pick a guy who was the top dog for this Ohio State team today, you'd have to give it to Terrelle Pryor. I thought he came in here and made the big plays when they had to be made, particularly on that 4th down.
They go on, and there's Herron. Stop short of the first down, and Iowa will use their final timeout. They go on and win this game and win the Big Ten title. That's a championship winning type of play. The
Absolutely.
14-yard run on 4th down and 10. Well, they had just had a go-ahead touchdown pass go through the hands of DeVere Posey.
And again, that was at a time, at a critical time, when that throw had to be perfect, and it was. And, you know, DeVere Posey drops the ball, but a perfectly thrown ball, and then has the great presence and wherewithal to know what the down and distance is and gets it on 4th down. That's huge.
Pryor with 78 yards rushing today is at exactly 2,000 yards rushing for his career. Only 66 behind Cornelius Green, the all-time leading rusher among quarterbacks at Ohio State. And here's the play. They had to have 4th down and 10 under 4 minutes to go. Trailing 17-13. He got the first down. They went down and punched it in. He's run for 5 first downs today. Can he run for another on 3rd down and 5? And the Iowa defense stops him. So they will have to snap it again. About 9 seconds difference between the game clock and the play clock.
Don't go away. Anything can happen on a last play, as we saw last week in football. How about the last play of the game a week ago in Jacksonville, when they threw that one up and it got knocked down for a touchdown?
We saw Kirk Ferentz. We talked to him yesterday about this season, which has been termed a disappointment by many. 7-3, about to be 7-4. They were a top 10 team in the preseason. And he said, hey, that's external. We didn't have those expectations. Other people attach those expectations to us. So all we can do is try to play week to week and play well. But I think objectively you'd have to say this has been a disappointing season
and
for them. This is their 4th loss with all the talent they had coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's check in with Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York.
That one's far from over, however.
Especially when the Hatter is involved. Les Miles, the Mad Hatter. He has a flair for the dramatic ending. It's usually a happy ending. Usually there's not a lot of drama when Jim Tressel's involved. They win. They typically win big. 9-1 coming in. Their margin of victory has been 28 points per game. Another timeout call. This is a tough decision here. Now, what do you do? Do you punt it? Do you have Pryor take a snap and run around for a while?
Yeah, you can't take the risk of having Pryor run around, just in the event that he gets tackled it doesn't get the first and leaves time on the clock, you shorten the field. On the other hand, you don't want to kick it into the end zone. It's only going to be a net 15-yard punt. You're giving them 80 yards to go.
You don't want to risk a block either.
Exactly.
I would think go for the first down here because it's 4th and 2. If you get it, it's game over. If you don't, you're giving them the ball at the 35-yard line with no timeouts.
Well,
they'd have to throw a very long pass, get out of bounds. I don't know. It's a tough call. You want to kill the time. That's why he's used 2 timeouts, and he's one of the best coaches in the history of football. Only coach ever to win 100 games at 2 different schools. It looks like that's what they're going to do. Try to get the first down. They give it to Herron, and he has the first down in the ball game. Ball came out as he hit the ground, but that'll cement it, an 11-yard gain for Herron. Jim Tressel. The drive for 6 straight Big Ten titles is still alive as they head back to Columbus to take on Michigan in the game next Saturday at the Horseshoe. There's still a 3-way tie atop the Big Ten standings.
2 great programs, 2 outstanding coaches, and an outstanding game here tonight. And all this being said, that's got to make the big nut really happy. You know, the 2 fat guys on the sideline?
Let's head down to the field to Quint Kesnick.
Thanks, Sean. Congratulations, Coach. 3:50 to go in this ball game. 4th and 10. Big Ten title hopes up in the air. What happened?
Well, Terrelle made a nice run. He went back, and the protection was pretty good. He was looking around to see what he could find, and he saw a little gap, and he took it for a first down.
How do you best characterize his play today?
You know, he played hard. He was excited. He was nervous. You know, they have a good defense, and, you know, when you face their defense, you're going to have some moments that aren't wonderful, but, you know, he had a couple turnovers, but, you know, we got a chance still.
What ultimately made the difference?
We scored 20. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's 2 good teams that fought like crazy.
Congratulations, Coach.
Well, that's the 10th win of the year for Ohio State. You saw the graphic. They're the first Big Ten team to have 10 wins or more in 6 straight seasons, and they'll play next week for at least a share of their 6th title in a row in the Big Ten. That would tie their own school record set back in the 70s. Here's what they all have next week. Michigan State's at Penn State. That'll be a DC. 20-17 the final here. For Matt Millen, Quint Kesenick, and our crew, Sean McDonough, so long from Iowa City. Let's head back to the studio. The post